You lock your doors at night. You set your alarm. You feel safe. But what if I told you there are 5 invisible doorways in your home right now, and something might already be using them? Stay until the end, because entry point number 5 is in almost every bedroom. And you've been inviting it in without knowing. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Godly Tales Hub. If you're new here, I explore the hidden spiritual realities that affect our everyday lives. And today, we're talking about something that affects every single person watching this video. Your home is supposed to be your sanctuary, your safe place. But according to ancient spiritual traditions, demonologists, and even modern-day exorcists, there are specific entry points that can compromise that safety. These aren't physical doors, they're spiritual vulnerabilities. Now, I want to be clear. This isn't about fear. This is about awareness and protection. So, let's dive in. Entry point number 1. Objects with dark histories. Number 1. Cursed or haunted objects. Have you ever brought home something from a thrift store, an estate sale, or even inherited an item from a relative, and suddenly things felt different in your house? In 2019, a family in Connecticut purchased a beautiful antique mirror at an estate sale. Within weeks, their 8-year-old daughter stopped sleeping through the night. She claimed she saw the old man in the mirror watching her. The parents thought it was nightmares, until they both started seeing shadows in their peripheral vision. They contacted a local paranormal investigator who traced the mirror back to its original owner, a man who had practiced dark occult rituals in the 1940s. The mirror had to be removed and properly cleansed. Objects can carry spiritual attachments. This is recognized across cultures, from African spiritual traditions to Catholic blessing practices. When someone pours negative energy, trauma, or intentional curses into an object, that energy can linger. Red flags to watch for. Items from unknown sources or estate sales. Objects depicting dark imagery. Demons, occult symbols, violent scenes. Anything that makes you feel uncomfortable or uneasy. Gifts from people who wish you harm. Here's what you do. Before bringing antiques or used items into your home, cleanse them. This can be through prayer, sage, salt water, or whatever aligns with your spiritual practice. And trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. Door entry point number 2, entertainment and media consumption. Number 2, the content you consume. This one is going to be controversial, but hear me out. A youth pastor I interviewed told me about a teenage girl in his congregation who became obsessed with a particular horror film series that glorified demonic possession. She watched the movies repeatedly, collected memorabilia, joined online communities dedicated to the films. Within 6 months, she was experiencing night terrors, hearing voices, and developed an intense fascination with the occult. Her personality completely changed. It took months of counseling and spiritual intervention to help her recover. I'm not saying all horror movies are evil, but there's a difference between entertainment and invitation. When you repeatedly expose yourself to content that glorifies darkness, demons, and evil, especially content that uses real occult practices or symbolism, you're essentially leaving a door cracked open. Psychologically, we know that repeated exposure desensitizes us. Spiritually, many traditions teach that what you meditate on, what you give attention to, you give power to. What to watch for? Content that glorifies demonic entities, media that depicts real occult rituals, obsessive consumption of dark content, changes in mood or behavior after consuming certain media. You have control here. Be intentional about what you allow into your mind and home. If something leaves you feeling heavy, anxious, or spiritually drained, that's your warning sign. Now, before we get to the 3 remaining entry points, let me tell you, entry point number 4 is something 80% of people do right before bed, and it's creating a direct channel. But first, entry point number 3, unresolved sin and unforgiveness. Number 3, harbored darkness within. This one is internal, and it's often the most overlooked. A woman named Sarah contacted me after years of experiencing what she called spiritual attacks. She felt oppressed, anxious, and constantly had nightmares. She'd tried everything, saging her house, cleansing rituals, protection prayers. Nothing worked. Reflective pause. During our conversation, it came out that she'd been holding on to deep resentment toward her sister for over a decade. They hadn't spoken in years. The bitterness had consumed her. When she finally chose forgiveness, not for her sister, but for her own freedom, everything changed. The oppression lifted within days. Scripture says it clearly. Don't give the devil a foothold. Unconfessed sin, harbored bitterness, unforgiveness. These create spiritual openings. Dark forces look for legal ground, and unresolved darkness in our hearts provides exactly that. The spiritual principle. Demons can't just walk into a house at random. They need permission, an invitation, an opening. Your inner state creates your spiritual atmosphere. What you can do: practice regular self-examination. Choose forgiveness, even when it's hard. Confess and release guilt and shame. Seek reconciliation where possible. Address persistent sinful patterns. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being honest and staying spiritually clean. Entry point number 4. Occult practices. Number 4. The harmless spiritual games. Here's where people get defensive, but this is critically important. 5 college students decided to use a Ouija board as a joke during Halloween. They asked it questions, laughed when it moved, and thought nothing of it. Over the next month, all 5 experienced escalating paranormal activity. Objects moving, voices, shadows, and overwhelming feelings of dread. One of them, Marcus, reached out to a demonologist who explained what happened. They'd opened a door without knowing how to close it. It required serious spiritual intervention to clear what they'd invited in. Listen carefully. Ouija boards, tarot cards, channeling, psychic readings, seances. These are not neutral activities. You're attempting to communicate with the spiritual realm, and you have zero control over what responds. Demonologists and exorcists consistently report that the majority of serious cases they encounter began with someone innocently dabbling in the occult. You might be trying to reach a deceased loved one or your spirit guide, but malevolent entities can masquerade as anything. Astrology apps and obsessive horoscope checking, crystal healing, without understanding the spiritual claims, meditation practices that invite any spirit to guide you, yoga practices that invoke Hindu deities without understanding what you're doing. I'm not here to judge anyone's spiritual journey, but I am here to warn you. When you open doors to the spiritual realm without protection, discernment, or proper authority, you're gambling with forces you don't understand. If you've done this, if you've participated in these practices, don't panic. Renounce them, remove any objects associated with them, and seek spiritual cleansing through your faith tradition. The door can be. And now, the 5th entry point. This is the one that shocked me most when I learned about it. It's in your bedroom. You use it every night. And if you're not careful, you're rolling out the welcome mat. Number 5. The doorway of sleep. Your dream state. B-roll of person sleeping. Transitioning to nightmare imagery. Your bedroom. Your bed. The place where you're most vulnerable. A man I'll call David started having recurring nightmares about a dark figure standing at the foot of his bed. Night after night, the same dream. He'd wake up paralyzed, unable to move or speak. Eventually, the figure started appearing when he was awake, just for a split second in mirrors or doorways. David discovered he'd been going to sleep every night while listening to subliminal audio tracks he'd found online. Tracks that claimed to open your third eye and activate spiritual abilities. He had no idea what he was actually inviting into his subconscious mind. When you sleep, your conscious defenses are down. Your spirit is in a uniquely vulnerable state. This is why throughout history, spiritual traditions have emphasized bedtime prayers and protection. The danger zones. 1. What you consume before bed. Falling asleep to horror content, dark music, or unsettling media. Spiritual content that invokes entities. 2. Your spiritual state. Going to bed in unforgiveness. Sleeping in fear or anxiety. No spiritual protection. 3. Sleep paralysis events, often dismissed as just neurological. Many traditions recognize the spiritual component, the old hag phenomenon across cultures. The solution. Here's what spiritually aware people do differently. Pray before sleep or set spiritual intentions. Play peaceful, uplifting content if you need sound. Cleanse your bedroom regularly. Don't engage with sleep paralysis entities. Don't fear them. Command them to leave. Create a peaceful environment. Consider spiritual symbols of protection in your bedroom. Your bedroom should be a sanctuary. Treat it that way. So let's recap these 5 demonic entry points. 1. Objects with dark histories. 2. The content you consume. 3. Unresolved sin and unforgiveness. 4. Occult practices. 5. Your vulnerable sleep state. Here's the truth most people don't want to hear. The spiritual realm is real. It's active. And it's paying attention. But you have more power than you think. These entry points only work when you're unaware or when you give permission, consciously or unconsciously. How to protect your home. No matter your faith tradition, here are universal protection steps. 1. Awareness. You've taken the first step by watching this video. 2. Cleanse. Remove problematic objects. Renounce past practices. 3. Consecrate. Dedicate your home to light and protection through prayer. 4. Maintain. Stay spiritually vigilant. Don't let your guard down. 5. Authority. Stand in whatever spiritual authority you believe in, whether that's Jesus, divine light, or universal protection. You are not powerless. Your intention matters. Your awareness matters. And your home can be a true sanctuary. If this video opened your eyes, or even made you a little uncomfortable, that's good. That's awareness kicking in. Hit that like button if you found this valuable, and subscribe, because we go deep on spiritual topics most channels won't touch. Click the notification bell so you don't miss the next video. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever experienced anything unexplained in your home? Have you noticed any of these entry points? Drop a comment below. This community is built on shared experiences and wisdom, and your story might help someone else. And if you want to go deeper, watch this video next, where I talk about the spiritual significance of your home's threshold and what ancient protection practices actually work. Remember, awareness is the first step to protection. Share this video with someone who needs to see it. You might be helping them more than you know. Stay spiritually vigilant, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.